In this video, we're going to take a look at our launch data from activity 114, iterate and redesign, and make some predictions about data. And we're going to use Google Sheets to help us out with doing some of this. So first off, let's go ahead and highlight our data. We can go here into data, sort range, sort by column A to Z. So now we're going to be able to see all of our data going from the minimum to the maximum. Along with that, down here in our statistics, let's go ahead and type equals. Start typing average to put in a formula. Select that. Select our data. Press enter. If you get an autofill, I just hit the X button. Next will be our median. Equals median. Grab our data range and hit enter. Now the range, as well as the IQR, the interquartile range, lower fence and upper fence, we're going to need some info up here in the orange boxes. So for the minimum, let's go ahead and type min. Grab our minimum value. Q1 equals, going to look for quartile. Select it. Select our data. Press the comma key. Press the number 1. And hit enter. Same thing for Q3, quartile. Select our data, comma 3, hit enter, and then our maximum. Grab our maximum value, select the data, and hit enter. So now down here in the range, now I can set up a formula equals, taking our maximum, type in the minus key, selecting minimum, hitting enter. The interquartile range is taking Q3 minus Q1. There's my interquartile range. And then to find the lower and upper fence, meaning where would we have a boundary for our outliers, I'm going to type equals for the lower fence. It's going to be Q1 minus, and then 1.5 times, and actually I need to probably go ahead and put this in here, 1.5 times, and then we're going to take it times our interquartile range. Okay, the upper fence equals Q3 plus 1.5 times the interquartile range. And here we get our lower and upper fences for those particular values. So now what I can do to look for my box and whisker plot is I'll select distance, and then I'll go ahead and select all the way across here. Insert, chart. On our type, I'm going to scroll down until I find the candlestick chart. And this is going to go through and allow us to see what our minimum and maximum values, as well as what are our Q1 to Q3, where's the majority of our data kind of following within those quartile ranges. Now, one question you'll go through and have, and we can always go through and also edit this chart. I'm also going to go into customize, grid lines and ticks. We can put minor grid lines as well as major ticks in as well. So there we go. So for minor grid lines, I can put in those. Major grid lines, I can change the color. Oh, it's a little easier to see. So our last point is going to be, let's see if we can identify any outliers that don't fall within our data. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of my data, and I'm going to go up here to format and go down to conditional formatting. So here we're going to go ahead and say format the cells if there's any values that are less than, and it says enter a value or a formula. Well, for my lower fence, I've got 74.625. I'm going to put that value in, and then under my defaulting here is if it doesn't, I'm going to go ahead and make sure the paint bucket is set that it'll highlight it red, and I'm going to go ahead and hit done. Then, so I didn't have anything highlights, but I'm going to say add another rule, same data range. We're going to say, all right, well, let's see if we have anything greater than, and I'm going to look for our upper fence, 133.625. So again, this is example data, and if I have anything greater than that, I want it to highlight in red. So if I close this, now I can see I've got one data point that's outside of my upper fence, so that's an outlier. Which, if I look, most of my data kind of falls pretty close together, but for some reason on one of my launches, this one is the outlier. So there we could go through and say, okay, there's probably something that kind of happened there. So we only have one particular one that falls within and outside of that fence. All right, so this has been a tutorial on finding your summary statistics such as mean, median, range, interquartile range, as well as your lower and upper fence, and as well as being able to identify outliers in a data set whenever you're doing launches for your project.